Hey guys, wind gusts of 75 miles an hour, blinding snow and then ice. We and about 40 other big trucks camped out at Wally Worlds in Grants, New Mexico for the night. The next morning found the interstate to be a solid sheet of ice, wreck after wreck. We just finally stopped counting. Traffic was very slow westbound, barely a crawl, and it wasn't much longer until eastbound was shut down completely. Soon enough, westbound was shut down too, for hours. Jill tries to get an update from a trucker, but he doesn't have a radio. By the time we get to El Rancho Hotel in Gallup, the snow, ice, construction, and just a lack of parking, well, we decided to put the El Rancho back on the bucket list. Maybe another time. Not today. Anyway, back on the interstate, we're doing good until about halfway to the Yellow Horse trading post. The interstate shuts down again for another couple of hours. What now? Finally, we hear more sirens, but this time it's the state troopers on their PA system.
Highway's open, let's go. Who's yelling it? I-40 is open, let's go.
That's nice, actually.
Yeah.
A couple of days later, we find out a rollover and a hazmat spill. When we finally did get to Yellow Horse Trading Post, the scenery hasn't changed much at all in 30 years. But the charm of the old place, it's just not the same.
To me, the Yellow Horse store was boring, nothing unique, and it all looked like it had been made in China. The best Navajo and Zuni store was closed for COVID, but the third shop that didn't have a name was like an antique store. The guy had old tools and showed me some freshly collected petrified wood in the back, unpolished and with the dirt still on it. I selected 2 pieces that had quartz crystals embedded as a surprise Christmas gift for Earl, and a small piece of unfinished turquoise to bring home for Claire.
I learned old Chief Yellow Horse, I think his name was Frank, actually died back in 2020. This guy, showing Jill his antique broken tools, was trying to scalp the wallet of this paleface, in my opinion. The petrified wood we escaped with, I really do like the 2 pieces. They are unique. My opinion, the funny old Indian chief that made this place has crossed over to the happy hunting ground, and the charm just isn't here anymore. So, we continue westbound for another couple of hours to the Meteor Crater RV Park, which is very convenient to the actual crater. The park is gated, easy to get to, nice campsites with trees and picnic tables. The morning view from our front window was a snow-capped mountain, and in the evening, a beautiful painted sunset. The crater, also known as Meteor Crater, is only a couple of miles from the RV park. Behringer tried to convince people that the crater was actually caused by a space object and not volcanic steam, and he spent most of his fortune trying to confirm his idea, but died in 1929, and the question still unsettled. It would take another 30 years for Eugene Shoemaker, Comet Shoemaker-Levy fame if you remember that, to finally settle the question in 1960. The crater is only about 600 feet deep, about 2 Statue of Liberties tall, and about 4,000 feet, or not quite a mile, wide. But looking at it in person, it is huge. It's difficult to make out the steam engine on the crater floor without binoculars. And imagine, the actual meteorite is thought to have been only about 160 feet wide. If you or the kids are interested in astronomy or just general science, you guys should plan a stop by the crater. After leaving Meteor Crater, we headed back east to the Painted Desert and Petrified Forest. Most people traveling west on I-40 will enter the park at exit 311, but we suggest you drive down to the Holbrook exit at 285 and then take Highway 180 to the south entrance. Why? If you use the northern entrance, the sun will be casting the shadows towards you, but from the southern entrance, the sun is behind you as you drive, shining on all the features, making them much more brilliant and colorful. it is worth the extra drive. And then, turning onto the park road, you'll see Jim Gray's Petrified Wood Company. It's worth a stop in. The counter people, well, they are very, very helpful in assisting you to buy something, anything. But, warning, things in here, they are not cheap. Wow. This beautiful and polished tree slice with a Christmas bow already on it, yours for a mere $2,400. And if that's just a little too rich, don't worry about it. Maybe we could interest you in some fossilized dinosaur poo for only $24 to $50 US. I think I'm going to rename Boo T-Rex. Actually, though, there's a lot of neat things here. Fossilized flies, shrimp, stingray, fish, and just many different types of petrified trees. We spent a lot of time in this store, looking at termites and amber, meteor fragments for just $12,000, jewelry such as Larimar, which I've never even heard of before, fairly expensive though. I was going to buy this table for $24,000 US, but I couldn't load it on the cart, or a card, yeah, maybe next time. We leave Jim Gray's and head for the southern entrance, but decide to stop in at the trinket shops here. Boy, these prices make me want to go back to Jim Gray's, an incredible difference. The sign at one place indicated free camping and RV parking, but it didn't really look like it was used often, maybe in the warmer months. We looked around some, but mostly explored the teepees outside, and then on the road again. Travel tip. If you've been in the military, you may be eligible for the National Park Pass. Free. Check it out. We enjoyed it frequently on this trip. Stop, pick up a park map, and we're on our way. We make a quick stop for a photo op at the park entrance sign, and then head on down the road to the Rainbow Forest Museum. There are different types of petrified wood, but the most common type is mostly quartz, which reflects the sunlight in a rainbow of colors. The museum has some nice dinosaur fossils, and some short hiking trails in the back that pass by some of the giant petrified logs of the park. These formations are ancient, even older than the dinosaurs of the Jurassic period. These colorful layers are from the Triassic period. This is the time of the supercontinent Pangaea, and it's breaking apart. This heavily eroded landscape is ancient, and the scenery changes constantly as you drive through the park. The brilliant sediment bands of color in the rock formations, it is a beautiful place. From 1995 to now, I really can't remember enough to say that I can see a change. But this dirt erodes at about a quarter inch per year, more in some years, less in others. But overall, that's about 1 to 2 feet every 100 years. If you want to get down into the ravines and between the formations, be sure to stop by Blue Mesa. The hiking trails are well maintained, and you can get a perspective that's much different than just standing at the top of the mesa. But from the top of the mesa, you can see for miles, nothing but desert. And it's hard to imagine this area being a dense, tropical, primeval forest, and then covered by many different oceans over time. Another place to see in the park is Newspaper Rock. It is actually a group of about 650 Indian petroglyphs, maybe up to 2,000 years old. An interesting note, pictographs are ancient paintings made with primitive paints or colored materials. A petroglyph is actually chipped into the varnish of certain rocks. To protect these glyphs, the Park Service provides no access, except from a viewing area with free spotting scopes. Of course, these scopes are government quality. If you really want to view these glyphs, bring a good lens or some good binoculars. And from Newspaper Rock, you can watch the trains off in the distance. But this isn't just any old ribbon of rail. The route is actually part of the second Transcontinental Railway, which was a guide for Old Route 66. Canyon Diablo and the hell road town that made it famous as a land without law is found here. take the Two Guns exit, number 233, which is about 3 miles west of the Meteor Crater exit. Just keep north on this road for about 3 to 4 miles. We had a 4x4 and it took us about 30 minutes. I believe a car with decent ground clearance and a good driver should be able to make it, avoiding the friendly bulls and taking it slow. Before the Transcontinental railroads were built, traveling across the United States could cost more than $1,000. It was very dangerous and took months. In fact, many people didn't even make it. $1,000 is a considerable sum of money even today. But after the railroad was completed, that cost dropped to about $150, and the time to about a week. Also, did you know that standard time in the United States and the time zones are basically the result of the railroads? Well, here we are. Diablo Canyon Railroad Bridge. Guys, please respect the railroad property rights. Don't cross the fences or climb onto the bridge. This first bridge was shipped from Central Bridge Works in Buffalo, New York in October of 1881. But when it arrived, it was several feet too short, and new material had to be shipped out, putting the railroad months behind schedule. The first train crossed the canyon in July of 1882, and the speed was limited to just 4 miles per hour. And the bridge you see today was actually built in 1947. Again, this is an active route. Stay off of the tracks and the bridge, as the trains can appear frequently and quickly. You can't visit the railroad bridge without taking note of the decaying stones. That's all that's left of the legend of what was once the town of Canyon Diablo and Hell Street. Brothels, saloons, shootouts, and robberies. It was the real Wild West. One April night in 1905, a couple of bandits entered the Wigwam Saloon in Winslow, ordered whiskey, but didn't get to drink it. Instead, the duo robbed a table of poker players of their silver coins and fled. As luck would have it, the Wigwam was owned by a deputy sheriff who didn't take kindly to robbery, I guess. He formed a posse and found the bandits in Canyon Diablo. In a shootout, Shaw was killed. Seems some other cowboys heard the story about how the duo never got to finish their drinks. They hopped a train, rode to Canyon Diablo, dug up Shaw out of the cemetery, and shared their whiskey with him. By the way, Hell on Wheels. If you get a chance, watch it. It's a great series. And this is all we have for now. Next episode, we start out at Two Guns, Arizona. Until then, be kind, take care.